SpaceX, the rocket company by Elon Musk, is about to blow up.
Tesla, very good.
On the 12th of June, SpaceX will do its initial public offering, which is going to raise about $1.75 trillion right at the offering price. The question is, will it actually go to the moon or blow up and take the entire US economy with it? On the 3rd of June, we got this article where Morningstar analysts talk about how the IPO, its initial evaluation, is a little overblown, at least twice as much as what it should be. They say that its actual value should come down to about $780 billion, which is less than half of what SpaceX is going to launch itself with. This particular quote encapsulates the problem with a business like SpaceX evaluating itself so high. A $1.75 trillion evaluation would put SpaceX on 67 times sales, 3 times as much as Nvidia's rating based on its past financial year and latest share price. It implies SpaceX's valuation could be richer than a plate of tofu potatoes. I don't know what the potatoes are, but even the biggest company on the market, Nvidia, does not have analytics kind of like what SpaceX is offering here. Okay, now if you read that, then you expect that as soon as it opens at the offering price of $135 a share, the price is going to drop. No one's going to buy it at that price. Anyone who already has is going to sell it. It's just going to collapse, right? That valuation is too far-fetched. It won't make it. The rocket isn't bound for the moon. It might not even take off. But I would argue otherwise. The most important thing to remember is that this is Elon Musk's company.
Never give up. Never give up.
He owns 40% of the equity in this company. In fact, as soon as this goes public, if it even holds the price that it's offering at, Elon Musk will become a trillionaire. That's unprecedented in its own way, but Elon Musk will not fail. Wall Street has taken care of him, and he in turn has liaisoned with the government very well. He is the White House's favorite billionaire at the moment, so to suggest that Elon Musk would be playing by the normal rules of the market, no, that is not going to happen. In fact, even in this very article that we read, the analysts do say that the company will initially actually boom. The price will go higher because it is just such an unprecedented time when it comes to the prospects offered by Nvidia. Like, even they don't expect that the IPO will fail. Then we also have to acknowledge the fact that JP Morgan, one of the, I would say, notoriously unethical but very successful firms on Wall Street, is basically marketing this IPO. They are ahead of it, and they're not just ahead of it, they're also one of the biggest investors in it, along with the Bank of America and 21 other banks, including with Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Basically the big boys of the Wall Street who run the market, who manipulate the markets, who are Wall Street, they are front running it. They're marketing it, they're buying big stakes in it, they're buying the IPO before it's even on the market. They're ahead of the line. So they will not let such a thing happen that the IPO opens and it falls. It's their baby. Okay, you might think everything I've said so far is based on feels and just general statements, right? I could have said the same for Tesla at this point, but this article by Bloomberg would suggest otherwise. See, the IPO is going to be made public with 555.55 million shares available to the public. But already at this point, the subscriptions, which are basically people lining up to buy the IPO as soon as it's made public, is already exceeding 10 billion shares. That's close to double of what will be offered. And this got me thinking about what is actually going to happen, right? Elon Musk holds 40% of the equity in the company. Now, as soon as the company goes public, he's going to have a bunch of shares that currently have no value. But as soon as people accept the $135 price, those shares will be worth $135. It's, in a way, generating wealth out of nowhere. Without printing money, literally, you're still adding capital to the market. And that means that there will suddenly be a big chunk of the Wall Street money already lined up. In fact, I would even argue that the dips we are seeing in the market right now is just liquidity being freed up by the firms so that they can buy more and more of the IPO. And then once it skyrockets from the initial subscriptions where the hedge funds are first in line, then we'll have the public coming in, buying more of it, and their assets will appreciate. I believe that this asset is primed. There is no indicator to even suggest that it's going to go down. It is really going to take off. The question is just how much. But do I expect that, SpaceX is going to do what it's been pitching before the IPO? That is to put AI data centers in space? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's even enough of a case right now to have AI data centers everywhere on the surface, let alone in space. But what I would expect is to happen is that this AI bubble will pop, and then all the money that's been aggregated into these AI firms will eventually get redistributed into defense and certain sectors. And so a company like SpaceX might very quickly pivot and shift into defense. It already has the connections, it already has the ties, it already has the favors from the White House, from the elites, from the Wall Street big money. It is primed to take all this capital and quickly acquire companies adjacent to what it's doing. Companies like AST Space Mobiles, right? The ticker being ASTS. That is a company that has a lot of potential, but might actually be something that Elon Musk missed out on. But now with so much capital, he could just buy it. So things like that, things like ASTS and other companies, I expect SpaceX to basically take the capital they raise, branch out and acquire those companies underneath them, and then SpaceX can provide those services, those companies, those technologies to the American government. It's probably going to become a very big government contractor. But again, I'm just hypothesizing. What really matters is what happens on the 12th of June when the IPO hits. And that is anybody's guess. Time will tell what will actually happen. So I'll see you at the casino.